This guide is to highlight the knowledge that is expected to have been delivered before the UK training sessions. Please use this guide to help you focus your delivery, but please do adapt it for your own groups. In this presentation, I'm going to show you how to plan for making your cultural heritage film. The aim is to be able to think through the process of filming your story and work out what you need to organise before you start, helping you to accomplish a successful film. In this presentation, you are going to explore the following. What is the story going to be about? Choice of locations to film the story. How to develop the narrative. What permission needs to be obtained to make and shoot the film? What equipment do you need? Teamwork roles and responsibilities in your team. Staying safe. Filming the schedule. Reevaluate. What is the story going to be about? First, I'm going to show you some different cultural heritage ideas. The aim is to choose a subject that you are familiar with, something that you already have an opinion about. You may have to do some research and find out more details to make your story flow. Your own cultural heritage. Think about what is your own heritage and the things you do that might be traditional or you feel identifies you in society. Family, schools, peer groups, local communities and civil society. How do you interact with your community, friends and family? What sort of activities do you do socially? Things like hobbies, sports activities, socialising, clubs, and so on. Other cultures, minorities, and attitudes towards others. What is your perception of other cultures and what sort of interactions do you experience with them in your daily life? Example, other ethnicity or other nationalities. People who experience relative disadvantages as compared to members of dominant social groups. Positive or negative attitudes. National ethnic identity, national heritage. How do you identify yourself ethnically or nationally? How does your heritage fit in with society? One's ancestry, tradition, culture, and language. Different celebrations, examples, Christmas, Easter, birthday, Valentine's Day, Ramadan, Diwali, Chinese festivals. Collective memory, key moments of national and European history. What big occasions or social changes have you experienced in your life that are significant to you and your community? Historical events, changing lives of ordinary citizens. Brexit, royal weddings. War, revolution, or civil war. Memorials. Young people's social and political views and activism. What views do you have about politics? Do you take part or have an interest in any groups that campaign for change? Examples, politics, political parties and viewpoints. Human rights, rights and freedoms. Pro-life, pro-choice. Abortion rights. LGBT rights, lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender, animal welfare and animal rights, environmental, ecological and awareness. Locations. Now you have an idea about what your story might be about, I now would like you to think about what different locations you would film in when making your story. Inside. Whereabouts are you going to film indoors? Can you light the shot okay? Is there going to be somewhere that is quiet enough so other sounds are not being picked up on your microphone? What would make the best indoor footage? Museums, art galleries, libraries, events, live music, theatre, cinema, dance, drama, singing, art clubs and groups. Background. What is happening in your shot behind the action? Is it distracting the viewer from the subject, or is it complementing the shot? Outside. Outside of a building or a place of interest. In a park, in the street, the countryside, in the city centre. Think about changing weather. Think about distracting sounds like traffic, loud people passing by, animals, and construction workers. Develop the narrative. Now that you have an idea for your cultural heritage film, next I will help you focus on developing the story in more detail. What is the message going to be? Think about what do you want to say to your audience and how can you show this, both verbally and visually. Questions for interviews. Will you be interviewing anyone to get their opinion or details on a subject? What questions need to be asked to make the story interesting? If you are interviewing someone with one opinion, do you need to balance that opinion with another? Will you be on camera as part of the interview, or will you only be showing the interviewee talking about the subject? Open-ended questions are always better in an interview, and adding the question in the answer will help you when you are editing the film together. If you are going to interview older people, you must remember to also represent young people's viewpoint on the subject matter. What is the conclusion? How are you going to end your story? What message will you leave the viewers to think about? If you are not sure, it might be helpful to plan a start, middle and end to your story, or an intro, main story and then conclusion. Think about the type of shots you will use: close-ups, mid-shots, or wide shots. Transitions. Moving from one shot to the next. Planning this in advance will help when you edit. For instance, showing a close-up interview, cutting away to a wide scene, or the building or place you are talking about. List the shot order. For example, planning out your different shots, it will make it easier to plan the flow of the story. Permissions. Next, I would like you to think about what sort of clearances you must obtain to be able to make and then show your film. Consent forms. Signed permission to allow you to use a person in your film. On this form, you should list where the film will be used, for instance on TV, on the internet. You need to make sure that people in your film are happy to be shown. Copyright clearance. Music needs copyright clearance. Most songs you hear on the radio or Spotify cannot be used because these are owned by other people and you haven't got permission to use them. Logos and clothing brands also need clearance, so it is important these are not used in your film. Permission to film on locations. Most locations need permission to be filmed in, so you will need to ask and then get written permission in advance. What equipment do you need? Planning what equipment you will need to use is very important to achieve the best shots, both audibly and visually, so the viewer doesn't lose interest in your film. Camera phone. You will be using the camera on your mobile phone for this project, but you could upgrade to a better picture quality by using a video camera if you had one. Have you got enough data storage on your phone or camera? Do you have enough battery power? Is your phone set to airplane mode to stop any interruptions when filming? Tripod. Sometimes handheld shots are okay, but you will get a much better looking picture when using a tripod. This allows for locked off shots and frame shots. Alternatively, the tripod can be moved up and down or from side to side for panorama or moving shots. Microphone. To be able to get good sound, you will almost always need to be using an external connected microphone, one that you have to plug in using a cable and not the one that is built into the phone. Lighting. Different locations will certainly have different light levels or brightness. To be able to get a good image on your camera, it is sometimes necessary to add extra lighting to light your shot to a usable level. Slider. To add variety to your film, it's good to have variation on your shot angles. But to make the shot more interesting, adding a slider can give more movement to the shot that otherwise would be still and a little boring. Teamwork, roles and responsibilities. Next, you are going to be planning who is going to be responsible for doing each of the roles in your filmmaking team. Booking scheduling. Who will be in charge of booking the location and getting permission to film there? This person should also be in charge of booking interviewees and also obtaining their permission to be shown in your film. If you are working in a big team, then it is also the responsibility of this person to make sure that the team know where they should be and at what time. Camera. Who will be in charge of bringing the camera, its setup, and also for the filming? Sound. Who will be in charge of the sound gear and its operation when filming? Lights. Who will be in charge of the lighting kit and its operation when filming? Interviewer. If you are planning to interview people as part of your film, then you will need an interviewer to ask the right questions. This person also has to plan what questions will be asked in advance of the filming. Editor. Once the footage is shot, it's the editor's job to edit the shots down into usable chunks and to assemble them together into a story. In this team, it would be advisable that the editor is responsible for copying the footage off the camera onto a storage drive or computer. Once the film is finished, the editor will make the final output or export file, ready to be uploaded to the internet. Staying safe. Now that you have started your planning, it is a good idea to check it again with safety in mind. Safe location. This sounds obvious, but are you shooting in a safe location where your team, interviewees, equipment, and yourself will survive the filming process? For example, don't take risks getting that perfect shot of the sea from that high cliff edge. Think about all the dangers and what could go wrong. Get permission to film. On most indoor or outdoor location, permission is generally needed to be able to film there. Find out who is in charge of the space or location and get advance permission. Be aware of your surroundings. Are there dangers that can be avoided? Trip hazards. The possibility of someone stealing your equipment. Work as a team and not alone. Working as a team means you have less to do and focus on by allowing other members to concentrate on their own tasks without everybody having to rush around to get the job done. Filming schedule. This last section is a checklist to help you focus and make sure you have everything ready on your filming day. Set dates and times. Get confirmation from everyone and the locations you will be filming in. Enter it into your diary, the dates and the times for the filming. Who with? If you are interviewing, make sure you have booked this with your interviewees. Where? You may need to book a time slot for the places you are filming in. Is your team available to help? Make sure all of your crew or team know where and when they are needed. You may need to also book out equipment you plan to use if you are borrowing it. Allow extra time for unforeseen circumstances. What if someone is late? You may need to wait for a suitable time for filming. Outdoor locations can be problematic because you have no control of your surroundings. What do you do if someone is cutting the grass and making lots of noise and you can't get a good recording? Changing weather conditions. The sun might go behind the clouds and you may need to add extra light. Recap on the planning flowchart. What is the story going to be about? Choice of location to film your story. How to develop the narrative. What permission do you need to obtain to make and shoot the film? What equipment do you need? Teamwork, roles and responsibilities in your team. Staying safe. The filming schedule. Reevaluate. Have another look and make changes where needed.